These guys, the Nuncats, are working on a very special mission, and I'm with Tim Bridge from Nuncats. I think people might have started to hear about you now because you're onto some pretty interesting things with the Sky Jeep that you've turned into an electric Sky Jeep.
Yeah, I think we've had people turn up who were looking for us, which is some small success in its own way, I suppose.
It's a very admirable project that you're doing. Why don't you tell our viewers what the aim is? There are three aims, I think, to your project.
Well, there's three pillars towards one aim, I
Right.
think, is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's about producing low-cost, sustainable, resilient aircraft that can provide useful services in the developing world. So electric bush planes, essentially. And not necessarily focusing on the sort of zero carbon angle, but because if you charge them off solar microgrids, you never have to buy petrol, the servicing is simpler, and once you install them, they're sort of fit and forget, they just work. But because they're optimized for that environment, they're also incredibly simple. So we can have students help build them as coursework and use them as training aids, which means we have a lot of young people getting into aviation, getting into the sort of STEM fields and the more technical sides of aviation, while helping us deliver them at low cost to NGOs in Brazil, Sub-Saharan Africa, Papua New Guinea, anywhere that 10 or 20-minute flights are already useful.
And another pillar is, perhaps their application as, light sport aircraft or, recreational flying.
Oh, absolutely. At the moment, you can order one today if you're happy with 40 minutes endurance. But I think, although we're partnered with Zenith Aircraft in the States, so they're the leading seller of kit planes. But at the moment, we need the price to come down a little bit and the endurance to go up a little bit. So while we've got a lot of interested parties, I think that'll really take off towards the end of next year when we swap to the Gen 2 batteries, where the endurance will be up over an hour and the price will be still less than a Pipistrel Velis Electro, but easily an hour's endurance. So the sales of the sort of sport plane side of it is ultimately what we hope will allow us to continue driving down the price of the good stuff.
So since this is your area and it's not my area, and all of us on the outside of electric aviation are kind of waiting for the moment when it becomes
good enough.
Good enough. You took the words right out of my mouth. You're seeing what's happening. You're talking about the next generation of battery. I mean, how long before it is good enough?
Well, this is an exercise in demonstrating that good enough is a very relative thing. We've already got 7 use cases, literally from Brazil at one end of the map to Papua New Guinea, where the endurance we can get out of the prototype is already enough. And we're using that as a stepping stone towards the sort of more typical sport flyer GA area. But off the back of our work with the prototype, we're now talking to battery manufacturers whose cells will easily give us a 50% improvement next year. 2025, we're going to be 60%, 65% up from where we are today. It's not about the cell technology is already available for the endurance people want. It's the certification delay, which is disappointing. So if you're approved, not certified, and you're not going for global markets and certified aircraft, we'll bring those cells to market, I would suspect, certainly many months or years ahead of the certified crew, just because of the fact that we can move faster.
Just talk us around your prototype aircraft that you have at the moment.
It's, as far as possible, it sort of captures the first half of the name Nuncats, no unnecessary novelty. So we took an existing kit plane that we know is easy to build. There's about 1,100 of them in the States now, I think it is. 100 of them a year get completed by amateur builders. So we know it's simple to build. And we've done as little as possible to make it electric. So the airframe is almost entirely standard. There's some small minor modifications to the wing because we put battery modules where the fuel tanks would be and they're not quite the same shape. But other than that, the electric power unit is all firewall forward, and that's designed. One of the key design elements is that the mass and the moment has to be the same as the O200 that the aircraft was designed for. So we fit a similar prop that you would if you had a UL Power or a Rotax engine in it. The prop flange is in the same place, the prop's spinning at the same speed. When the cowls are on it, the airframe doesn't know the difference. So as far as possible, we've left a known good design well alone wherever we could.
So what's the timeline for the project now?
Well, here at AeroExpo, we've had some interesting conversations with some potential end users. The best case at the moment is 6 of them by the end of next year with the Gen 2 battery packs, which will be going to northern Nigeria by the looks of it as a sort of extended beta trial. And those second gen battery packs will be the ones that we offer to sport flyers at Oshkosh next year, which will be the system that easily gets you an hour's endurance. So yeah, next year should be pretty exciting. If we find some decent sponsorship, next year will be very exciting.
And it's interesting because you're operating in a very different world to those others that are developing electric aircraft. And are there advantages to operating how you are compared to them, or are you held back by certain things? I mean, presumably investment and money is a big problem.
Certainly, I mean, as a social enterprise, it's always going to be hard to raise funding because there's no obvious exit strategy. The commercial returns aren't the same, but we're finding a lot of the bigger corporates are becoming increasingly happy to invest in the impact specifically. So I think that'll make life easier moving forward. Being a social enterprise certainly makes it easier to get discounts off almost everybody. It makes it impossible to get cash, but it makes it easy to get discounts.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. But no, it's swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
I think to target the specific use cases we're looking at, those getting a paramedic and their kit bag 15 miles in a hurry. It's a niche, but it's a niche with really unique impacts. So as a starting point to grow from, it stands a higher chance of failure, but if it works, we can make a massive difference really quite soon.
Why are you doing this?
Because I've had a slightly eclectic career, and I realised in 2019 that I think I'd acquired the skills that meant I could.
Right.
And because it's a tool that, were it to exist, would be useful, and no
Yeah.
one had done it, we figured we'd try.
Good for you. Nice to meet you, Tim.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Well done.
Thank you.